Hello, and welcome to the Personify Leadership Podcast, the podcast where we explore the transformative journeys of leaders who have embraced the principles of Personify Leadership to drive success within their own organizations. In today's episode, we're interviewing Jeff Hudson with Marquette Transportation. Marquette's been delivering the Personify Leadership program for many years, so we're excited to hear what Jeff has to share. Hello, Jeff. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. This is Jeff Hudson with Marquette. Jeff, why don't you introduce yourself to us a little bit?
Sure. Hi, I'm Jeff Hudson. I'm with Marquette Transportation, based out of Paducah, Kentucky. We are a maritime solutions company, so we tow barges up and down the Mississippi River and in the Gulf of Mexico and some of the tributary rivers.
Nice. Now, Jeff, your company has been delivering and Personified for quite a few years. Tell us a little bit about what drew Marquette to Personify and how it resonates with your staff.
Sure. Actually, we started using Personify even before I was here. Our CEO, Damon Judd, I think, was introduced to Personify Leadership, and I know that it really resonated with him, the research-based learning. He loves the topics around the what you're signaling and the mirror neurons, and that content really resonated with him. And then I also think the experimental activities and the interactive element of the course, our industry is very much not people at their desk. Everyone's on the move all the time, going to boats, and having a program where people are always up and interacting definitely resonated with him and with our entire employee population.
Nice. So yeah, give us an idea, give us a snapshot of who are the leaders at Marquette that you put through the program, kind of, and the diversity amongst all the different roles that they carry at Marquette.
Yeah, we've really started, I believe, with focusing on people leaders, but we have expanded the reach to everyone who is on our shore-based teams, because we really feel that the takeaways from Personified Leadership are relevant for everyone, regardless if you're managing people or not. And so, we have everyone from our operational leaders who oversee the activity on the boats, to our sales and logistics teams who communicate with customers about where their when their barge is going to arrive and their materials are going to arrive. We include our shared services teams like accounting, HR, IT. So we've really included everyone in the company in the Personified Leadership, and it's really resonated well with our folks across the board.
Yeah, I know I personally have delivered multiple courses there at Marquette. And what I love about whenever I get to come and do one of your programs is that we've got port captains and your HR team and and everything in between in the same class. And what I love about that, it really does help shape and shift the culture within Marquette. So talk a little bit about that. What shifts in culture have you seen since you've been at Marquette? Or even after someone goes through Personify, how does that what changes do you see in behaviors once they get back into the real world?
I think that one of the things that I've seen change is people's willingness to have the courageous conversations, which is covered in Personified Leadership. Being in Kentucky and the South, I would say direct conversations is not generally a cultural strength of this part of the country. I personally grew up in West Virginia, and instead of having a courageous conversation with someone, you would just tell them to bless their heart. So I would say that
Okay.
in this part of the country, that is kind of, people avoid conflict, people avoid difficult conversations. And I have seen us as a culture and as a company grow that skill set and grow that ability and grow that willingness to engage in those conversations. And I think that's really been a game changer for our organization, and people knowing where they stand and knowing what they need to do to progress in their career.
Yeah, that's great. And I know that the schedules of your people are also, they're very different than your normal, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. You have people out on boats, 24/7, moving product up and down rivers and whatnot. And I know that also impacts, when you're with somebody literally on a boat for sometimes 30 days at a time, then that also, there's going to be conflict. There's going
Oh,
to be
absolutely.
there's going to be things that pop up that require a courageous conversation. So I love that that's one of the competencies that really resonate with your leaders. Are there any others that you think are kind of really present for them outside of the spine of the leader?
I'd say that I definitely hear people talking about their disc style. So going back to that module is one that has resonated. And one of the things I think is great about this whole program is that it gives your people a language to talk about these topics, and to talk about things like what your style is. And I hear people saying all the time, oh, well, that person is a C, so make sure that you go to them with data to support the decision that you're recommending. And so that's definitely been an element that has resonated and that I see people talking about and using every day.
Excellent. All right, so let's talk about, I know recently, Jeff, you were invited to come out and participate in our new program, our deep dive program. So what are some insights that you, as a participant in our new program, what are some insights from the deep dive program that really resonated with you?
I'm super excited about the deep dive program. I thought the content was just really great and, cutting edge leadership content, as you all have delivered in the original Personify. Some of the key themes that really resonated with me were empathy and resiliency and emotional intelligence. I mean, I think those are all such important, skills, not only just in the workplace, but in society in general. Those are the kind of skills that I tried to teach my own kids as I was raising them to be successful adults. So I think that those topics are just so relevant, so important in our society today. And I'm so excited for us to be able to introduce those concepts to our broader employee population.
Well, that's awesome. I love it. Those are the things that were really exciting for me to kind of tease out and develop as I was building out the deep dive program. So I'm so glad that those are the elements that resonate with you, because
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time, effort, and energy really trying to figure out how do we do this in an experiential way that's data driven and research based, that really can have an impact, not only on people as a leader in their organization, but also a leader in their communities or back in their families and things like that. So I'm just very pleased to hear that those were things that resonated with you. So
Yeah, and I definitely have to applaud you and the team who develops the program for finding ways to, create interactive and experiential activities, because I know that that has set a very high bar in our organization. And we recently had a different kind of program, and I remember someone saying, we really sat too long, and it wasn't like Personified Leadership where we got to get up and move some and interact. And so like you've set a bar for anything else that we do, that we need to make it that way.
Oh, that's actually well, I'm so glad to hear that. But at the same time, that is one of the things that does set our program apart from others, is that we engage people in their learning. So they're not just sitting, it's not death by PowerPoint. It's, that we engage them in it. And when you experience your learning rather than just hear and see your learning, it imprints on your brain very differently, and therefore the retention level is that much higher, because you participated, you almost feel it in your bones because you lived it, you experienced it. So so good. I'm so glad. And I know that we've got a deep dive program scheduled
Yes.
with you guys after the first of the year. So what are you excited about for within the next year or so with Personify?
I'm very excited to get the deep dive program out to our folks. I've already started telling some of our teams about it. They're very excited. The first program was impactful to so many people, and I know that there's already an excitement for that first program that I think is scheduled for February. So really looking forward to getting that out to our folks and just continuing their learning and development. At this point, we've probably put about 90% of our teams through the original Personify. So we've got a big population who's ready for more, and I'm excited to get it out to them.
That's great. All right, so Jeff, so if you were going to tell others about Personify, why should others consider investing in Personify or incorporating it into their organizations?
Well, I think I've already talked a lot about how much we value the interactive elements of the program, and I think that just is going to go over really well with any organization where people especially aren't used to being stuck at a desk all day. And it's something that our people love about the program. But also I think the program is just very holistic. I love the concept of the body-based competencies and really looking at leadership from a full 360 perspective. I know that I personally will go back and reflect on those competencies if something feels off for me or my team, and think about, am I signaling the right message, and, am I delegating appropriately? So I almost feel like it's Personify is a 2-day experience, but you carry on the content with you in your career from day to day, and you can use it. And I think that's, one of the most powerful things that I could say about Personify. It's not just a 2-day experience that you go and you walk away, but it's something you take away with you and you continue to use. And I think that is a great reason for any organization to consider working with you.
Well, great. Well, Jeff, thanks so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to share with our listeners and people that might be considering engaging with Personify a little bit about your success with it and how it's impacted your leaders at Marquette. So thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to do it. Look forward to the deep dive.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode of Leaders Personified. I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our guests for sharing their inspiring journey and valuable insights on how Personify Leadership has impacted their organization. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and leave a review. Your feedback helps us bring more inspiring stories to leaders like you. For more information about Personify Leadership and how we can help you develop essential leadership skills, visit our website at www.personifyleadership.com. Join us next time as we continue to explore the transformative power of leadership and hear more success stories from leaders who are making a difference. Until then, keep leading with heart, and remember, leadership is not a position or a title. It is an action and example. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode of Leaders Personified.